Take a walk through any of these places and you'll see faces from all over the world. The streets are alive with the rhythm of many tongues: Bengali, Tagalog, Tamil, Bahasa Indonesia, Arabic, and many other languages. At KLCC Park, a vibrant tapestry of cultures come alive. African families share laughter under the shade. Chinese and Middle Eastern tourists eagerly capture every moment. South Asian workers savor their rare day off. Southeast Asians gather for peaceful meals beneath the trees, while Europeans stroll thoughtfully and Australians bask in the gentle breeze. Now, it's a beautiful snapshot of the world converging in one place, united by hopes, dreams, and the simple joy of being together. Some are tourists bringing fresh currency into the economy, but many are here to stay. Workers, caregivers, builders, cleaners, designers, and small business owners, all here for one purpose: to build something better. So at Central Market, also known as Pasar Seni, Sunday reveal a rich multicultural scene, especially as Filipinos, Indonesians, Bangladeshis gather here to shop, connect, and share stories. It's a vibrant blend of laughter and languages with the smell of the street food in the air. On these Sundays, the market's old charm combines with the new world of immigrant hopes and dreams, turning it into a living tapestry of global resilience and ambition. So Kota Raya in Kuala Lumpur has also become a lively scene on Sundays as the Filipino community gathers here. With its maze of small shops, Filipino eateries and remittance center, it's more than a shopping spot. It's a cultural hub where you hear Tagalog songs, find Filipino snacks, and watch families catching up after a long week of work. It's a slice of home for a foreign city where the spirit of community and kingship shines bright. But here's something most people miss. The sight of these migrant workers only appears in these areas on Sundays. Why? Because every other day they are working, morning till night, shifts that start before the city wakes and end long after it sleeps. While tourists explore landmarks and snap photos, these foreign nationals, cleaners, construction workers, hawkers, and caregivers are busy building the backbone of the city. They're not just out to waste time, they're here to earn, to save, and to sacrifice. And here's the truth, many of them are doing the 3D jobs, the dirty, dangerous, and difficult work that many locals no longer want to do. From cleaning septic tanks to working in construction under the blazing sun, from lifting heavy crates in warehouses to working as domestic helpers or security guards. They carry the weight of the city quietly and consistently. And this isn't just in Malaysia, it's a global reality. From New York to Dubai, Singapore to Berlin, it's immigrants who are keeping cities running in roles many take for granted. Some of them left everything: families, homes, identity. Some said their goodbyes at the airport terminals with trembling hands. Others couldn't even afford a proper farewell. They left a note behind saying, "I love you. I'll sacrifice my life so you can live a better one." That note was their promise. That promise became their fuel. They are builders of futures, the backbone of economies, quiet contributors. Their stories are rarely told, yet their fingerprints are on the very walls we walk past, the roads we drive on, the homes we live in. And before we judge, let's remember, these are not strangers to our story. They are our story. Our ancestors were once the same, immigrants arriving with empty hands but full hearts. Whether from China, India, the Middle East, Sumatra, or Java, they too were once the outsiders. And look at what they built. Now, in truth, we are all immigrants in this world. Some of us just arrived earlier. We are moving into a pluralistic and diverse world where people from all walks of life come together, each playing a vital role in shaping our shared future. And you can't change that from happening. So in truth, we are all immigrants in this world. some of us just arrived earlier. We are moving into a pluralistic and diverse world where people from all walks of life come together, each playing a vital role in shaping our shared future, and you can't change that from happening. Nations like America, Malaysia, Singapore, Australia, and the UAE, these were not built by bloodlines alone. They were built by people of grit, by people who left behind what they knew to create something that had never existed. And if you trace any great city back to its roots, you'll find the same story of the dreamers who left, the fighters who stayed, and the builders who never gave up. So next time you walk through KLCC Park or Masjid India, don't just see a crowd, see sacrifice, see ambition, see the legacy in motion. Because behind every immigrant is not just a story of struggle, but a blueprint of success. So picture this. A man arrives in Kuala Lumpur with a small bag, an old mobile phone with no credit, and a 50 ringgit in his pocket. He doesn't speak the language, he has no family here. But fast forward 5 years and he's earning 55,000 ringgit a month. Not through privilege, not through inheritance, and not through government handouts, but through a relentless hustle. This isn't fiction. This is a real story reported in Malaysia, where a Bangladeshi man who came with nothing and built a thriving business. His story isn't an anomaly. It's a mirror in the much larger truth. Now, across the globe, from refugee camps to city skylines, we see one pattern. Those who have nothing often build everything. The question is, why? What's the fuel? What's the difference between someone who waits for the perfect conditions and someone who creates their own weather? Now, today, we dive deep into the psychology and discipline and the desperation that fuel both the immigrant mindset and the millionaire mindset. Now, these are not just mentalities, they are forces of nature, and they have more in common than you think. So, the immigrant mindset is not something you download from a motivational app. It's born in fire, the fire of leaving behind your family, your language, your food, your roots, and sometimes even your identity. Now, when you leave your homeland, you lose comfort, but you gain clarity of insight. Now, you realize that in life, there's no plan B. It's either you rise and make it a success, or you fall. You either survive or you go home in shame. That is if even you have a home left. Some leave because they see a window of opportunity. Others leave because their homes are no longer in a livable state, destroyed by war, the economic collapse, or regimes that strip them of basic dignity. Now let's take, for example, refugees from Syria, Afghanistan, and Sudan. Many of them were well established back home, running companies and businesses, practicing law, living middle-class lives. But one airstrike, one civil war, and one unjust law, and it all vanishes. They flee with their children and their memories. They end up in countries where no one knows their name or credentials, and they start again from rock bottom, cleaning toilets, serving food, sleeping in shared rooms. But they don't complain, they just rebuild. And in the process, they show us something powerful. If you have the will, you can restart from ground zero. So let's come home to Malaysia. A recent case made headlines. A Bangladeshi man married a Malaysian woman and reportedly built a business earning 55,000 ringgit, which is equivalent to $13,000 a month. While the controversy around hiring undocumented workers sparked a debate, there is a deeper story underneath. Here is a man who didn't just come to Malaysia to survive, he came to thrive. He started small, like doing menial jobs, learning how the system works, making connections. Then, with one opportunity, marriage, community, a license, he leveraged it into something bigger. Now, let's be clear, employing illegal workers isn't something to glorify. But let's ask the deeper, more uncomfortable question. Why are so many immigrants building a successful business in countries around the world where the locals often say there's no more opportunities for them? Well, the answer is quite simple. It lies not in the economy, but in the mindset. Where others see obstacles, they see openings. While some grumble about the lack of support or dream conditions, these immigrants are out there making it work. No safety nets, no government handouts, no perfect business plans. All they have is just grit. They aren't entitled to local government handouts. They aren't waiting for someone to save them. They just learn to work with what they have. And often that means starting at the very bottom. They are just resourceful people. That's why you'll see them doing what are called the 3D jobs: the dirty, the dangerous, and the difficult. The ones that most people turn their backs on: cleaning toilets, hauling bricks in construction sites, washing dishes in back alleys, harvesting crops under the sun, or working night shifts in security booths. But it doesn't end there. Some of them flipped that hard-earned sweat into something more beautiful. They open small stalls that service businesses, run barber shops, or even become subcontractors. And with time, sacrifice, and consistency, they scale. That's what transforms a mop into a multi-million ringgit business. That's what turns a cramped room in a dormitory into a dispatch fleet. That's how someone who started sweeping floors eventually owns the building. Jobs are not being stolen, they are being filled. Because the truth is, many locals are simply not willing to do these jobs anymore. So let's face it, when was the last time you saw a local queuing up to clean drains, pick up trash, or work 14 hours shift in the sweltering heat at a construction site? Now, these jobs are not glamorous. They are not celebrated on social media, but they are essential. They keep our cities running, our food cooked, our buildings standing, and our homes clean. Immigrants are not taking opportunities from others. In fact, they are taking the ones no one else wants. While some complain about low wages or lack of prestige, these workers show up, they show grit, and they show results. They understand that every job, no matter how lowly it seems, it's a stepping stone to success. For many of them, doing a 3D job is not a final destination. It's a beginning. And that's the mindset shift that we need to have, not only in Malaysia, but around the world. Because these workers aren't here to take, they are here to build. And if we stop seeing them as a threat and start seeing them as part of the same story of sacrifice that build our families' legacies, maybe we'll begin to appreciate what they represent. The hunger to rise, even from the hardest ground. Their hustle is not magic. It's not luck. It's hunger. And in a world numbed by comfort, that hunger is what builds empires. So according to the World Bank, immigrants worldwide sent over 626 billion USD back to their home countries in 2022. So just think about that. That's 3 times more than all the global aid combined. This isn't charity, this is blood, sweat, tears and sacrifice turned into school fees, house payments, medicines and hope. For many nations like the Philippines, Bangladesh, Nepal and Nigeria, remittances are lifelines. Families survive not because of their local governments, but because their sons and daughters are working 12-hour shifts in foreign lands. And this is where the mindset becomes so powerful. Immigrants live frugally, sometimes eating instant noodles or skipping luxuries just to send half or more of their salary back home. They delay gratification. They don't live to impress, they live to build. That's the essence of wealth building, and ironically, it's the same principle that financial experts teach in millionaire courses. Now, spend less than you earn. Invest the difference. Think generationally. The immigrant does this not because of a cause, but because they have to. This guy is an immigrant himself working at KLCC Park. Now, if you study the self-made millionaires of the world, you'll notice something. Their story is not that different from immigrants. Many of them started poor. They faced rejection. They failed multiple times. But they kept on going. The key difference is, while the millionaires or the millionaire mindset often comes from a desire for more, the immigrant mindset begins from a need for survival. But both of them have striking similarities. Both embrace discomfort. Both take calculated risks. Both are future focused, and both avoid instant gratification. Now, let's take Atifa Hikmat, a qualified psychologist, professional photographer, and an artist, as well as a university lecturer who moved from Iran and went to establish a vibrant art studio and a cafe. Now, this is a powerful example of entrepreneurial spirit fueled by creativity and passion. Or consider the story of many Malaysian, Chinese, and Indian families. Their grandparents came to Malaya with nothing. They worked very hard. They saved every ringgit and penny and slowly built family empires in trade, food, or education. Now, that hustle, that ability to endure rejection, to keep moving forward, now that's the mindset that we all seek. It's not about IQ, it's about resilience, vision, and the ability to see what others overlook. See, we often assume that refugees or immigrants are all poor, but that's not true. Some were self-made millionaires, some were professionals, some had status in their home country. But war, economic collapse, or persecution stripped them of everything. There was one BBC report shared the story of a Syrian entrepreneur who owned 3 businesses before his city was bombed. And so he fled to Europe and ended up working as a cleaner. Palestinians too have had their lives upended by conflict. Doctors, engineers, teachers were forced to start from scratch in foreign lands. Iraqi families, once wealthy from oil or successful businesses, have also been displaced by decades of war and instability. Now, imagine that. going from boardroom meetings to scrubbing toilets. But you know what? That guy, he still showed up. He still sent money home. He still believed that rebuilding from ground zero was possible. Now, that mindset is priceless. It humbles you. It teaches you that your worth is not in your title, but in your ability to keep going when no one sees you. Many immigrant stories are not about glory. They are about dignity in the dark. And when those people rise again, and they do, they bring a strength that few born into comfort can comprehend. And that is why often when do they make it, they go far. Because they know that the pain of losing it all, and they never want to go back to that same position. So now, let's talk about the real hidden danger. Once you become comfortable, you lose the fire. You forget the struggle. And this is why the grandchildren of immigrants who grew up in cushy houses, driving nice cars, with little adversity, often lose the hunger. See, the immigrant grandfather walked 10 kilometers to work. The grandson complains about slow Wi-Fi. The fire gets dimmer with every generation unless it's intentionally passed down. The same goes for children of self-made millionaires. Wealthy kids often lose their edge. They never felt the scarcity that their grandparents or ancestors had. They don't know what it means to earn. You see, complacency is the silent killer of dreams. You stop dreaming because life is good enough. You stop risking because safety feels comfortable. And comfort is addictive. But if you study any growing business or rising leader, you'll find one thing in common. They stay hungry. They act like they have something to prove, even when they have made it. And that's the mindset we need to cultivate. Not just to succeed, but to sustain success. So let's not forget our local legends. Take Datuk Lat, the kampong boy from Perak, who turned his childhood memories into Malaysia's most beloved comic strips. Now, he didn't come from privilege. He wasn't born into fame. But he had the eyes to see beauty in the ordinary and the discipline to tell stories through drawings. Now, he captured the Malaysia we love, our food, our people, our everyday chaos, and gave it a global appeal. That is a form of immigrant spirit too, seeing opportunity in places others ignore, turning humble beginnings into something timeless. His story reminds us that mindset isn't about where you live, it's about how you think. Whether you come from a kampong, a high-rise flat, or a refugee camp, your ability to rise depends on what you believe is possible and what you're willing to do daily to make it happen. So here's the truth that many of us forget. We are all immigrants. Humanity itself began as a migration. Every modern nation was built by people who moved, settled, built, and passed down a culture. Malaysians, many of us are descendants of migrants, whether from China, India, Indonesia, the Middle East, Siam, or any other country elsewhere in the world. The richest cultures are built when different people come together and build something new. And that means we should not all look down on immigrants. We should learn from them. They are risk takers. They are builders. They are the ones who leave behind what's familiar to chase and what's possible. And when they succeed, they create jobs, art, innovation, and bridges between nations. Without immigrants, countries don't grow. they stagnate. Look at America, the UK, Australia, Singapore. Immigrants fuel growth. Malaysia is no different. So the question today is not, are you an immigrant or not? The question is, are you hungry? Are you living with urgency? Or are you just existing? Are you making excuses or are you finding ways to make it big? You can have a Malaysian IC and still think like an immigrant, scrappy, resilient, bold. You can have ringgit 1 million in your bank or home and still act like someone who's got dreams bigger than your bank account. So let's just honor the people who left everything behind to build. Let's not forget their struggle. Let's learn from their discipline and let's keep the fire alive inside us and in those we raise. Now, you don't have to move to a new country to be a builder. You just have to move your mindset from comfort to courage, from waiting to doing, from consuming to creating. And that's how empires are born. That's how dreams become legacies. This is Ipoh, the city of millionaires. The millionaire mindset isn't just history, it's your future. If this episode inspired you, share it with someone who needs a reminder that greatness starts with vision and belief. And if you're looking for a school that's driving change in Ipoh, look no further than EdQuest International School and Rockford's education. Subscribe, follow, and stay tuned for more untold and captivating stories from the city of millionaires. And remember this, legacy isn't left behind, it's built one bold step at a time. Rockford's Education and EdQuest International School are proud to be the #1 IGCSE specialist in Ipoh and the city's first international boutique school offering personalized learning, modular exams and real success in a world that is constantly changing.